I will be answering the questions on here. Simplify x cubed times x to the 4. The answer is x to the 7. And that is the simplification of x cubed times x to the 4. What is the coefficient of x when x plus 2 times x take 3 is expanded? When we expand it, we get x squared add 2x, take 3x, take 6. Collecting positive 2x and negative 3x, we get negative x. So the coefficient of x is negative 1. And that's the coefficient of x when x add 2 times x take 3 is expanded. What is the highest common factor of 8x squared and 12x? The answer is 4x. That is the highest common factor of 8x squared and 12x. Evaluate 16 to the half. The answer is 4. That is 16 to the half evaluated. Evaluate 2 to the negative 3. The answer is 1/8. That is 2 to the negative 3 evaluated. Express root 48 as a root b, where b is square free, and find what is b. Root 48 is 4 root 3, and therefore b is 3. And that's expressing root 48 as a root b, where b is square free. What is the denominator after rationalizing 1 over root 5? Multiply the top and the bottom by root 5. So we get root 5 over 5. So the denominator is 5. And that is the denominator after rationalizing 1 over root 5. What is the largest solution of x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0? We factorize this into x minus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0. And then we get that the solutions are negative 2 and 3. And the larger of those is 3. And that is the answer as to what the largest solution is of x squared minus 5x at 6 equals 0. What is the minimum value of y equals x squared minus 6x plus 11? We need to find the line of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a. So in this case, it would be 3. And then substitute that in. So 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 11. So 9 minus 18 plus 11. And the answer is 2. And that is the minimum value of y equals x squared minus 6x plus 11. For 2x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0, what is the sum of the roots? All right, check again. Okay. All right, so you can't factorize it. So we're going to use the quadratic formula, which is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And what is b squared minus 4ac? It is 16 minus 8, which is 8. So we visualize the square root of 8. And then it's 4 plus or minus root 8, which is 4 plus or minus 2 root 2. And that's all over 4. And therefore it's 2 plus or minus a half root 2. And the sum of those roots is 4. And that's the answer as to what the sum of the roots of 2x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0 is. What is the discriminant of x squared at 4x at 7 equals 0? So the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So we do 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 7. So 16 minus 28, which is negative 12. And that's the discriminant of x squared at 4x at 7. Does x squared at 2x at 5 equals 0 have one real root, two real roots, or no roots? X squared at 2x at 5 equals 0. So we're going to use the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. In this case, b is 2, a is 1, and c is 5. So 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 5, so 2 squared minus 20, which is negative 16. And because the discriminant is negative, it has no real roots. And that's the answer to the question, does x squared at 2x at 5 equals 0 have 1, 2, or 0 real roots? What is the y-intercept of y equals x squared at 3x take 4? The answer is negative 4. That's the y-intercept of y equals x squared at 3x take 4. The formula h equals negative t squared plus 8t models a ball. What is the maximum height of the ball? Alright, so we need the line of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a. Or we could just simply factor out t. So we have t, open brackets, 8 minus t. We can see that the two roots are 0 and t, and the halfway point is 4. But that's the time at which the ball reaches its maximum height. As for the actual height itself, at that point in time, that would be negative 4 squared plus 8 times 4, which is minus 16 plus 32, which is 16. And that's the maximum height of the ball modelled by h equals negative t squared plus 8t. If x plus y equals 10 and x minus y equals 2, what is the value of x? So in this case, x is 6 and y is 4. So the answer is 6. As in, x is 6 if x at y equals 10 and x minus y equals 2. How many real solutions do y equals x squared and y equals x have? The answer in both cases is 1. They both pass through the origin. And that's how many real solutions y equals x squared and y equals x have. How many intersections do the graphs y equals x squared and y equals 9 have? Y equals 9 is a horizontal line passing through 9. And y equals x squared passes through it twice. At x equals 3 and x equals negative 3. So the answer is 2. That's how many times y equals x squared and y equals 9 intersect. What is the smallest integer satisfying 3x minus 4 is greater than 5? Adding 4 to both sides, we have 3x is greater than 9. Dividing both sides by 3, we have x is greater than 3. And the smallest integer satisfying that is 4. So 4 is the smallest integer satisfying 3x minus 4 is greater than 5. How many integers satisfy x squared is less than 9? The answer is 5 integers, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 1, and 0. So 5 integers satisfy x squared is less than 9. For the graph y equals x squared minus 4, is the graph above the x-axis at x equals 3? Substituting 3, we have y equals 3 squared minus 4, and thus y is 5, which is above the x-axis. And that answers the question where, for the graph y equals x squared minus 4, is the graph above the x-axis at x equals 3? For the point 1, 1, does it lie in the region y is greater than x plus 1? Substituting the coordinates, we see the statement 1 is greater than 1 plus 1, which is false, and therefore it does not lie in that region. And that answers the question, does the point 1, 1 satisfy the region y is greater than x plus 1? How many distinct real roots does x cubed equals 0 have? The answer is 1. The only real root is x equals 0, yielding the point 0, 0. That's how many real roots the graph y equals x cubed has. Or rather, the equation x cubed equals 0 has. What is the minimum value of y equals x to the 4? The answer is 0. It looks much like the parabola, but a bit more angular. That's the minimum value of y equals x to the 4. What is the value of y when x equals 4 on y equals 1 over x? The answer is 1/4, or 0.25. That's the value of y when x is equal to 4 on the graph y equals 1 over x. What is the vertical asymptote of y equals 1 over x take 3? By subtracting 3 from the arguments of y equals 1 over x, we translate the graph 3 units towards the right. Consequently, the vertical asymptote moves 3 units towards the right. So the vertical asymptote is x equals 3. X equals 3 is the vertical asymptote of the graph y equals 1 over x take 3. At what positive x value do y equals x and y equals x squared intersect? They intersect at the x values 0 and 1, and the positive value of those two is 1. So the answer is 1. That is the positive value at which y equals x and y equals x squared intersect. If y equals x squared is translated up by 5 units, what is the new equation? The new equation is y equals x squared at 5. That's what happens when the graph y equals x squared is translated upwards by 5 units. If y equals x squared is stretched vertically by a factor of 4, what is the new equation? The answer is y equals 4x squared. That is the new equation when the graph y equals x squared is stretched vertically by a factor of 4. If f of x is equal to x squared, what is f of x take 2? We have to substitute in x minus 2 for x in y in x squared, and thus we get that y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4. And that's the answer as to what f of x minus 2 is when f of x is equal to x squared. What is the gradient of the line y equals negative 2x plus 7? The answer is negative 2. That is the gradient of the line y equals negative 2x plus 7. A line has gradient 3 and y-intercept negative 1. What is its equation? The answer is y equals 3x minus 1. Y equals 3x minus 1 is the equation of a line with a gradient of 3 and a y-intercept of negative 1. What is the gradient of a line perpendicular to y equals 4x? The answer is the negative reciprocal of the gradient, which is negative 1/4. Negative 1/4 is the gradient of a line perpendicular to the line y equals 4x. What is the distance between the points 0, 0 and 6, 8? We apply the distance formula, which is essentially the Pythagorean theorem. So we do 8 minus 0 all squared plus 6 minus 0 all squared, and then square root the result, which is the square root of 8 squared at 6 squared, which is the square root of 64 at 36, which is the square root of 100, which is 10. And so 10 is the distance between the points 0, 0 and 6, 8. What is the midpoint of 2, 3 and 6, 7? We have to find the midpoint of their x coordinates and the midpoint of their y coordinates. The midpoint of 2 and 6 is 4. And the midpoint of 3 and 7 is also. The midpoint of 3 and 7 is 5. And thus the answer is 4, 5. That is the midpoint of the pair of points 2, 3 and 6, 7. What is the area of the triangle with vertices 0, 0, 5, 0 and 0, 4? The answer is 10, applying the right triangle area formula. That is the area of the triangle with vertices 0, 0, 5, 0 and 0, 4. A line model is C equals 3 plus 4m. What is the value of C when m is equal to 6? We just do 3 plus 4 times 6, which is 27. And that's the value of C when m is equal to 6. For the line model, C is equal to 3 plus 4m. What is the radius of x squared at y squared is equal to 81? This is a circle. And the equation of a circle in general is x minus a all squared plus y minus b all squared equals r squared, where a, b is the center of the circle and r is the radius of the circle. In this case, the circle is centered upon the origin as a and b are both 0. But the radius is 9, as that is the square root of 81. And so we say that 9 is the radius of the circle x squared at y squared equals 81. What is the center of x minus 2 all squared plus y plus 1 all squared equals 16? Based on what I just said, this is a circle with a center of 2, negative 1 and a radius of 4, but as it's only asking for the center, we shall say that it's 2, negative 1. And that is the center of a circle specified by the equation x minus 2 all squared plus y plus 1 all squared equals 16. What is the radius of the What is the radius of the circle specified by the equation x squared add y squared minus 4x minus 6y plus 4 equals 0? I have to try again. What is the radius of the circle specified by the equation x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 6y plus 4 equals 0? We have to gather the x terms together, then the y terms together, then complete the square of the x terms and complete the square of the y terms, and then move all the constants over to the right hand side, and that will result in the radius. So doing so, we end up with x minus 2 all squared minus 4 plus y minus 3 all squared minus 9 plus 4. The negative 4 and the positive 4 cancel out. Moving the negative 9 to the other side, we have 9. And then we have to square root that, so the radius is 3. So we say that 3 is the radius of the circle specified by the equation x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 6y plus 4 equals 0. How many intersection points do x squared add y squared equals 16 and y equals 5 have? The answer is 0. Substituting y equals 5 into the first equation, we get the resulting equation x squared add 25 equals 16. However, there is no real value of x which satisfies this, as that would mean x squared would have to equal negative 9. We're not permitted to use the complex numbers. So the answer is none. The equations x squared add y squared equals 16 and y equals 5 do not intersect. You can visualize it as a circle centered upon the origin with a radius of 4 and a horizontal line passing through y equals 5. What is the gradient of the tangent to x squared add y squared equals 25 at the point 3, 4? This is a circle centered upon the origin, and so we need to find the gradient of the line segment connecting the origin to the point 3, 4, and the answer to that is 4 over 3. And then we must find the negative reciprocal of that, so it's negative 3/4. So negative 3/4 is the gradient of the tangent to the circle x squared add y squared equals 25 at the point 3, 4. What is the angle in degrees between the tangent and the radius at the point of contact? The answer is 90 degrees. Simplify x squared minus 16 over x minus 4. Factorizing the numerator using the difference of two squares, we have x plus 4 times x minus 4. Cancelling x minus 4 on the numerator and denominator, we are left with just x plus 4. And that is the simplification of, x plus 4 is the simplification of x squared minus 16 all over x minus 4. Okay. So we need a reminder about the remainder theorem. Just a quick reminder. Okay. What is the remainder when x cubed plus x plus 2 is divided by x minus 1? So if we substitute in plus 1 into x cubed at x add 2, then we should get the remainder. And doing so, it should be 5. So 5 should be the remainder when x cubed at x add 2 is divided by x minus 1. What is the quotient when x squared add 7x add 12 is divided by x plus 3? The answer should be x plus 4, as x plus 4 times x plus 3 is equal to x squared add 7x add 12. So x plus 4 is the quotient when x squared add 7x add 12 is divided by x plus 3. For what value of k is x minus 2 a factor of x squared at kx minus 8? By substituting in 2, we should get 0. So 2 squared plus 2k minus 8 should be 0. So 2k minus 4 should be 0. So 2k should be 4, so k should be 2. Two should be the value of k when x squared at kx minus 8 has x negative minus 2 as a factor. Is the statement, the square of an odd integer is odd, true or false? From elementary arithmetic, we know that this is true, as we are taught that odd times odd equals odd. But we shall prove it by saying that the form of an odd number is always 2n plus 1, where n is an integer. And thus, let 2n add 1 and 2m add 1 be two arbitrary integers, or if that's too difficult to distinguish between auditorily, let 2p add 1 and 2q add 1 be two odd integers. Then consider their product. Their product is 4pq plus 2p plus 2q plus 1. Then factor out 2 from the first 3 terms, and we have 2 open brackets 2pq plus p plus q close brackets plus 1. That is 2 multiplied by some integer plus 1, and that is odd. Which proof method begins by assuming that the conclusion we seek to prove is true is false? The answer is proof by contradiction, shortened as PBC. So proof by contradiction is the proof method which tries to prove a conclusion by beginning with the assumption that it's false. What is 6 factorial? 6 factorial is 720, and it is defined as the product of all the natural numbers from 1 up to 6 inclusive, i.e. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6. What is 6 choose 2? As in, how many ways are there to choose 2 elements from 6 elements? The answer is 15. This can be calculated in numerous ways, or it can simply be memorized. I choose to memorize Pascal's triangle down to the row which goes 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. So 15 is the value of 6 choose 2. But you may also realize that it's 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add 5. The 5th triangle number. And the reason why that makes sense is pair 6 with the previous elements, then pair 5 with all the previous elements, but not 5 with the 6th element as we've already counted it. Then the 4th element with all the previous elements, but not the 2 above as we've already counted that, and so on. But that is 50 questions, so I will pause there. Thank you.